When Ryan's when it's time to begin, it's on the Rewind to Raw with John Pollock and Wai Ting. The 18 that makes sense of these things we see in the ring every week on TV. It's Rewind to Raw for Monday night. Download it Tuesday morning from the Post Wrestling site. It's Rewind to Raw for Monday night on USA Now on the John and Wai Take the mic.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rewind to Raw. It is John Pollock here with Wai Ting. You know, Wai, after all this time, I think I found out the problem with Raw all these years. It's not long enough.
Oh, really?
These commercials just get in the way of things.
So what are you suggesting? The change?
Commercial-free Raws every week, 3 hours, nonstop. Never give people a chance to breathe. Just 3 straight hours every week.
Sure. Yeah. Why not 4 hours?
They could just go right through to SmackDown. They could. I understand. Like this obviously is a technique. This idea of commercial free, it works. Like that's the reason that they use this. So, but man, watching it that first hour, I was begging for some of these bumpers for that. They just inserted like their own in-house product. I mean, we were getting a recap of the best Instagram photos from the past week. I mean, they were just padding this thing in the first hour.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the live experience, I suppose, is somewhat similar. You're sitting in the arena. They give you some eye candy to watch while everybody else is in commercial. I don't know. Hey, man, they're on Syfy. They need anything they can to try to keep that number up, right?
Yep. I mean, we will see if this works. My hunch is like they will. Like I think the first time they tried this was way back that time when Donald Trump bought Raw in 2009, and they did a commercial-free Raw, and the number was phenomenal.
Was Raw 3 hours back then, though?
It wasn't, but they did a special 3 hour edition back when they would do 3 hours
when it was actually special.
Yes, the odd time they would do a 3 hour special. But they did something like 4.5 million viewers, and the commercial-free gimmick is something they have utilized at different times, especially in NXT when they were more so going head-to-head with AEW.
Well, they've pulled out pretty much every gimmick so far, so I guess it's about time they tried the commercial-free thing.
So we will get into Raw from Denver, Colorado. Earlier today, we put out the post-daily news update going through some of the news items from the past 24 hours, as well as chatting about the Will Ospreay-Michael Oku match that went down last weekend at the Rev Pro card at York Hall. And Tuesday, we are scheduled to be chatting with one Michael Oku on the daily news show. So if you tune in live, 1 p.m. Eastern time, that is what we have scheduled. We'll also go through the SmackDown and Rampage numbers, Nick Gage signing a contract, lots of news that we will go over on Tuesday. But Mr. Ting, it is a new week here, and Tuesday night we are dropping Rewind Away. And what is on tap for our cafe members on Tuesday night? Have you started this rather quick watch that we have to chat about on Tuesday?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have started. I finished it, and in fact, I've already had a chance to speak to our executive producer about it. So. I'm kind of interested in talking about this one because I'm not exactly sure how you feel. I mean, it's a really easy watch. This is called WWF Greatest Hits. It's a Coliseum home video release from 1990/1991, really focusing on the period around November of 1990. So we've got the Ultimate Warrior as your champion in the main event. It's really, what is this? A compilation of just kind of never release matches, I suppose.
No, this was stuff that did, like this Ultimate Warrior Ted DiBiase match was from an episode of the main event that aired on NBC. It's a random collection, yeah,
but not released on VHS.
On VHS, correct? Yes. So yeah, that's on there. The Big Boss Man against the Barbarian, Hulk Hogan and Tugboat teaming up against Rhythm and Blues, Rick Martel and Marty Jannetty, and Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich versus Mr. Perfect,
and some Hasbro commercials.
That's right, and some music videos.
Yeah, yes. Plenty to talk about. It'll be a bit of a more digestible, easier chat just about the period, I'm sure.
Yes, so looking forward to going into that with Mr. Wai Ting. Thursday, we've got the British Wrestling Experience with Martin Bushby and Benno. So look forward to that. I'm sure they'll be chatting about the Ospreay Oku match as well, which Benno was actually in attendance for, but he had to get going early. So he actually didn't get to stick around for the Ospreay Oku match.
You're kidding. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I was asking him about it afterwards, and he was telling me he unfortunately he couldn't stay for the main event. It was getting late.
That's a little too bad, but I'm very curious about their thoughts nonetheless. However, they will have an announcement for a special guest for their live show. As many people know that they're doing a live podcast day during WrestleMania weekend, and they'll be announcing their first live guest.
All right. So look forward to that. I wonder, look at all these surprises this week. We're going to get a free agent appearing on AEW, and then a guest announcement on Thursday from Martin and Benno. And into the weekend we go. UFC 271 is going down from Houston, Texas. Phil and I will be live right after the UFC card, which features Israel Adesanya taking on Robert Whittaker, a fight that my dentist was asking me about last week.
No way. Wow.
Yeah, it was she didn't really know too much about the UFC, but the one name she was able to bring up was Adesanya. So
is that right?
Yeah. Wow. So there you go. Cool. So what Phil and I will be live on Saturday night going through that card, and then Sunday, WrestleNomics Radio as some of your highlights to look forward to this week. And of course, we are live Monday through Friday, youtube.com/postwrestling, as well as on the Post Wrestling Facebook and Twitter with the Post Daily News Show, your one-stop shop every weekday at 1 Eastern time. Your one stop before you can go to all your other stops. You can just fit us in along the way.
Maybe your first stop.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Anything else, Wai? Do you have any words of advice before we dive into the Quiz Bowl? Are you ready for this?
I don't think so. This is the only thing I need to talk about today, the Quiz Bowl.
Well, you start this off as strong as possible. So the Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado, got to see the Quiz Bowl live person with Alpha Academy returning Randy Orton, who was just off last week's show, but back this week. The return both Priest and Randy Orton this week after they were absent last Monday. So the rules of the Quiz Bowl is it is 1 point for a correct answer, and if the team gets it incorrect, the opposite team has a chance to steal. First one to 5 points wins. It's like, wow, they're going to go deep here. We're going to get a lot of questions. And they brought up all the 9 categories. And I don't know how to recap this. You want to just go through the questions here, Wai? Gable selects U.S. presidents, and they get multiple choice here. Multiple choice. This really, I mean, for a live audience here that is rooting for one team over the other, it seems very unfair for multiple choice, but I guess they could have screamed the answers anyway. So it
was not against the rules.
It was not. It just seemed this was a free-for-all. So Gable is correct in selecting John Adams as the first U.S. president with a college degree. Riddle then picks biology and is asked how many hearts an octopus has. And wouldn't you know it, Riddle's cousin is a marine biologist, and they once dissected an octopus, and therefore he knows that an octopus has 3 hearts.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's there you go. There's a statistic for all of you out there.
I learned something watching this show.
Next was Greek mythology for Alpha Academy. Who flew too close to the sun and fell to his death? I know you knew this one, Wai.
Well,
great documentary. Yes, it was Icarus. So Orton decides to pick something easier, and he goes with cartoons. And who was the Ninja Turtle with the nunchucks? And dude, this Denver crowd, they were not going to let this guy get it wrong. They were going nuts here. And it is Michelangelo. Always my favorite Ninja Turtle of the 4.
Really?
I always like Michelangelo. Guy. Yeah, he was all right. What did they call the things that he had? The
size.
That's right. Right. Yeah. Odd name for a weapon. You know?
Oh, like nunchucks are a really logical name.
Yeah. I was never big. I always thought Donatello was like, you got a stick. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you can do a lot of damage with the stick, but I once had a computer game, like old school, like PC computer game of Ninja Turtles. And this game was hard as hell. Very, very difficult game.
And did you use Donatello? Was it harder?
I used Michelangelo, and then I'd die as Michelangelo, and you got to go through, and then I had to pick the rest of them and go through them.
Oh, wow. Yeah, what was it called? The computer game?
Ninja Turtles.
Just Ninja Turtles. Okay, it wasn't Turtles in Time.
I don't know. It was a sigh of relief, the Raphael story.
Very nice.
Let's go on. Otis picks geography, and they are asked the largest state of the 4 listed. And Otis says, well, if they asked lowest IQ, the answer would be Colorado. Boo! We're not dumb. And he gets it with Texas. So everyone's just they're 100% here. RK Bro goes with pop culture. And the pop culture question. Haley Baldwin is the daughter of which Baldwin? Riddle wants to use a lifeline to call Justin Bieber because Justin Bieber was married to this Baldwin, but he cannot do that.
Is married.
Is married? They're currently married? I was like Randy Orton here. I had no idea about Haley Baldwin. And Randy guesses Alec, and it's wrong. It was Stephen Baldwin with Alpha Academy getting the steal. They're up 4-2. So Alpha Academy goes to film and literature. And which Shakespeare film has been adapted into the most movies? And Otis is trying to say Hamlet and is rudely cut off multiple times by Chad Gable, who goes on and on before saying Romeo and Juliet. He's wrong. And RK Bro steals it, and it was Hamlet. Otis was right, and he could have won it for the team, but Gable effed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to feign my enthusiasm here. RKO or RK Bro, they're looking at the categories and they go with sports. Who's the QB with the most wins in Denver Broncos history? And they just played it for all it was worth here as they got John Elway. So Alpha Academy goes for a layup here. They go with metric conversions. And the question is, how many grams are in an ounce? And dude, there was a fan facing the hard camera that brought their sign. Riddle loves all bulls. And that fan was so excited when this question was asked. It's like, yes, we're getting the pot joke. We're going to get the pot joke. And Gable is unsure. He picks 12 grams in an ounce. He is incorrect. Orton stops Riddle from answering, saying, I've got this one. Riddle is surprised. And Randy says, you think you're the only one that bakes? And he picks 28 grams are in an ounce. And RK Bro win 5-4. And then after, the buzzer keeps sounding. And with each ensuing buzz, Gable is selling it like it is a bullet that has been dislodged in him. And he is selling the pain as he collapses to the mat with each subsequent buzzer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is how this ended. You know what? I had fun watching this.
Yeah. Successful segment.
I don't know. Some people, I don't know what the response is. I stay offline now during shows, so I have no idea what the response to this was. For the first 20 minutes of the show, I thought this was rather entertaining, and I thought Gable was, everyone was really entertaining in this. Gable, I'm a big fan of this guy and his character.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it entertained the crowd, and they were very engaged throughout. And I think some would probably have you believe that this is more engaging material than a professional wrestling match. You know, they both have to be present. It's WWE sports entertainment. You need your segments like this. And it was fine.
It was fine. All right.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah.
Great way to start off 20 minutes of your commercial-free hour. So then the Street Profits come out, and they made fun of Alpha Academy, and this, of course, sets up a match. You would think that for this commercial-free hour, that they were just going to have some wrestling go out there and eat up a ton of time. Not the case. We had 2 matches in this first hour, and they clocked in at like 11 minutes combined. So this was not a whole lot of wrestling that they used for this hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, in this, Gable's lip gets busted open. He throws Dawkins with a belly-to-belly. Ford hit this incredible dive onto Otis on the floor, and Gable goes for the ankle lock. Dawkins tries to counter and roll out of it, but instead Gable just holds the legs down and pins Dawkins in 5 minutes and 36 seconds. So that will teach Dawkins about trying to win in your hometown last week and what it's going to, the repercussions that come with that. So Yeah, your champions beating the non-champions in a non-title match. So the Street Profits not profiting here in Denver.
No, but I thought the match was good. I was actually impressed in particular by Dawkins and Gable together. I thought they looked great. But the booking I was maybe the most impressed with because it was, like I think very logical. Yes, Alpha Academy lose the Quiz Bowl. They get embarrassed at their own game. But then they still showed that they're a dominant force in the ring by beating a strong team in the Street Profits. So it's to me a proper build for this tag team match that's coming up.
Yes. If you're going to have the challengers lose, they lose to some team completely different.
Yeah.
So then we had a feature on Lita, 2K trailer, and then the top Instagram photos of the week.
Yes.
Commercial free. MVP is in the ring and brings out Bobby Lashley, who is identified as being from Denver. So he was full on babyface for this entire segment. He comes out, he's slapping hands, he's smiling, he got pyro, they're chanting Bobby. I mean, this was just over the top. It was like so bizarre in WWE that they just completely leaned in that, well, he's from Denver, he's going to be the babyface.
It's bizarre because maybe they don't always do it, but I like the fact that they are. And I mean, I think you could perfectly buy him turning heel again next week because, I mean, it's just like MJF in Long Island. It's the hometown person. It's the sports team that you absolutely hate playing in their hometown.
Well, how do you explain? How about Seth Rollins? He's just all over the place. I don't know. We haven't been to his home state recently.
That I don't know. I have no idea what's going on with Rollins and Owens, but we'll talk about that later. And also worthy of note, I think, is the fact that MVP is now saying, reigning undisputed during his introductions, much like Paul Heyman. So really continuing that rivalry.
Yeah, he did the total like Paul Heyman style introduction for Lashley. He says that they should have had a ticker tape parade. It should have been Bobby Lashley Day last week. Instead, Pierce made an Elimination Chamber match. And Lesnar may have won the Rumble, but it is pure fantasy if he thinks he will win the Chamber match. I would say so, because I think everyone is fantasy booking this Mania title versus title match now. So yes, it is fantasy that is in people's mind. He said that they are monsters, him and Lesnar. The rest in this match are just men. And Lashley asks, when was the last time Lesnar defended the WWE title or even wrestled on Raw? And he hopes that it comes down to him and Lesnar in the chamber so he can pin him one more time. And then it will be Lashley defending the title in the main event of WrestleMania. I don't think that is going to happen. I don't know if Lashley is going to be defending this title in the main event of WrestleMania.
Do you completely rule it out?
Lashley headlining, 100%. I rule that out. Lashley winning, no, I don't completely dismiss that idea. I just think now that you have introduced this title versus title concept, I just think it's a bit of a letdown now to tease something that you're not planning to deliver, and it almost makes the match feel not as big as it could, based on how they framed it.
Could Brock Lesnar be having two matches across the two nights?
So you would have Lesnar and Lashley on one night and then Lesnar and Reigns on the other. It's possible because I don't know what this Raw side, what happens with it. Like Lashley and Lesnar, if Lesnar is able to do two matches, you may as well, because like of this makeup on Raw, like I just don't know what you're fighting for. And even combination, like, are there any combinations on Raw that you're salivating for in a big WrestleMania setting?
It really might just be Lashley and
Lashley and Rollins and Owens. Like what combination is really exciting you?
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on the build, but sure. At the moment, I don't know. Can't really answer that. Yeah. I thought it was a really good triumphant promo from these two, and doing it, in front of the man's hometown crowd, making him seem like a big star.
More therapy for Alexa Bliss. The therapist asks for the replica version of Lily back, and Alexa starts crying as she lets go of it. And more to come later in the night. Damien Priest, AJ Styles, championship contenders match. They had a nice match here. It went 5 minutes. Priest landed a spin kick to the head. They had this big striking exchange ending with the Pele kick. And with the impact of the kick, Priest dropped down and landed on Styles. The phenomenal forearm gets stopped with Priest landing his own forearm. And then Priest just comes off the ropes and gets blasted with the phenomenal forearm. And Styles pins him in 458. And as Styles leaves, we have a close-up of Priest morphing into Damien in the corner.
Yeah. Setting up the title match for next week.
Yes, a championship contenders match that was a straight line to a championship match the very next week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting the sense that, with Damien Priest, because he's got this alter ego character now, they're kind of going to use him like the demon with Finn Balor, in that they make him lose in his civilian form just to justify the arrival of the alter ego that'll, inevitably beat AJ Styles. So, on the one hand, I mean, I suppose it's good you're getting a character, but on the other hand, your civilian form is going to be booked to be that much weaker.
Yes, after going a year without being pinned, I guess there's more liberal use of beating this guy, who I think is dramatically cooled off. I don't know. The Damien
Priest has cooled off, but what about Damien?
Well, I guess the jury is still out on that one. We'll see next week, because it looks like Damien is showing up in Indianapolis and Priest is going to hang out here in Denver. That's what it seems like. Seth and Kevin are in the back, and Rollins can't believe that Owens isn't in the chamber match with them. They blame DeVille and Pierce. Owens thinks if he can beat Theory tonight in their rematch, they'll have to add him. And Rollins is skeptical, but says, I have your back. I believe in you. And Owens asks, are you lying? Rollins says, I am a lot of things, but I'm not a liar. Miz TV, Miz and Maurice are there, and Miz asks all the people to get up on their feet, and they just pan the crowd, and they're all standing up. They're all taking this man at his word, like he's giving us an order. Let us stand. And he just puts over Maurice. The guests are Rey and Dominik, and Miz defends his actions from last week, stating he is not a cheater. He just outsmarted and outmaneuvered them, and blames Dominik for losing the match. Miz is upset. He never even got a chance to be in a qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. And Miz starts screaming at the audience. He lists off all of his different accomplishments and is not on any of the posters. His face is not on the ring trucks. A huge slap in the face. And he is not on the front of the video game cover. So Miz explains that Rey could learn a lot from Maurice. And Maurice says, yeah, Rey, you could call me Rey Mysterio.
I mean, it's heel line.
Sometimes you just got to go for it. Rey Mysterio. Good effort. Dominik demands that you show my father some respect. Miz says that Dominik has brought his big boy pants here, and he challenges Dominik to a rematch. I accept. And Miz notes that you're a lot taller than your father. Are you sure you're not Eddie's son? And this upsets Rey, who goes to jump Miz, but Dominik holds dad back, and then Dominik shoves Miz. I will not have you use any of their names in vain, Miz. We are going to have a contest right now. Come on.
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, I could read lips.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good segment here. I thought Miz is always really good in leading these sort of heel antics. I'm not getting enough respect types of stories, and he here I thought gave us plenty of personal reason for him to actually have an issue with Rey Mysterio. Again, it's the same thing. I've done all this. I'm not getting recognized, and yet this guy hasn't won a match, it feels, in forever.
You know what? You know what Miz should be? You know what Rey should say? Miz, all this money this company's making, very little of it makes its way down to us. So you can be on all these posters. You can be on the ring truck. You can even be on the video game. You know what? They're getting $1 billion in revenue. And you know how much revenue is earmarked for us, the independent contractors? A percentage you would not be happy with, Miz. And maybe they could find common ground here. Let's talk about our collective IPs that are being monetized in every which way that we can't even keep track of.
They could do that.
Be a real edge of your seat storyline.
It'll be a real shift in direction.
So we got our rematch, The Miz and Dominik, number 2. They went 1:40. First, Maurice tripped Dominik, and then Rey tripped Miz, but the referee was dealing with Maurice, so didn't see it. Miz gets upset and yells at Rey, so Dominik does a sunset flip roll-up and pins the Miz, and they call it one of the biggest wins of Dominik's career.
Yep, just telling a little story. Villain gets some karma. Maurice tried to trip Dom and then gets thrown out, but then Rey trips the Miz, which leads to Dominik winning, so I think the feud was intensified. It's in decent shape. I like the fact that Maurice is back. I think the Miz is better with Maurice around him. The Miz is better with somebody around him, whether it be John Morrison or Maurice. They're both fantastic. And the feud is better, I think, with Maurice around, antagonizing the other two.
We can come back to it. But in the back, we see Vince McMahon hanging out with Austin Theory. But this is just, we don't get any dialogue, nothing audible here between these two. This was the only interaction between Vince McMahon and Austin Theory. So I guess Vince McMahon, after he put in all those words onto the investors, the analyst call last Thursday, was going to take it easy tonight. No promo tonight. Voice. Take it away, Nick. And Austin Theory, a billion. Bianca Belair, Nikki Ash. Corey Graves explains that this new version of Nikki Ash, it's serving her well. She's a new person now, and she's finding success. I was like, is she really finding success? I decided to look this up. This woman has not won a match since she has turned. In fact, her last win was part of an 8-woman tag in November. She has lost every match she has been involved with since. So this is not serving her well. If anything, she's getting more matches now that she has an opportunity to lose on television, such as Rhea Ripley last week and here against Bianca Belair, who beat her with one leg, survived the tornado DDT, KOD, and on one leg, Bianca Belair, your winner over Nikki Ash.
Yeah, just a little showcase match here. I mean, I don't expect really a whole lot for Nikki Ash heading into WrestleMania season. I don't even know if she'll find herself in a role on WrestleMania, but she's a part of this. But the story is going to be about Bianca Belair and her chase towards the championship. So they're just feeding her opponents right now. Last week it was Carmella. This week it's Nikki Ash, and then we'll see what else in the weeks to come.
All right. So from there, we go to, I guess we should also go over, they did announce the women's Elimination Chamber match for Saudi Arabia. So Bianca Belair, Nikki Ash, Dewdrop, Rhea Ripley, and who's the fifth?
I think it's a mystery right now, right?
No, there's a fifth, and then the sixth is the mystery.
So women's. Yeah, I'll look this up here.
Anyway, so we have 5, and they're leaving one as the mystery.
Yeah, Liv.
Oh, right. Liv Morgan is going to be in it as well. Who do you think they put in as this? I mean, unless
Bailey.
unless it's someone, that's coming back. I thought for like the other one is if Edge ends up being on the card, maybe Beth is on it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, whoever it is probably won't be winning.
The mystery?
Yeah.
Probably not. It seems, I mean, you can never count on anything, but it would seem like, you do this match. They've really kept Bianca away from Becky and wins this match. And then you finally have your direction coming out of that with Becky and Bianca. That seems almost too obvious, the picture that makes you wonder that something will just get blown up and suddenly Lita is defending against Beth Phoenix at WrestleMania.
Could be.
Then R-Truth, Tamina, and Tozawa are in the back running around, and Reggie is hanging out with Dana Brooke. She thanks him for always having her back and being a nice guy, kisses him on the cheek, and Reggie asks, "What does this all mean?" Dana said, "Nothing. None of this means anything. We do the same segment every week, and we've been doing it for months, and we'll be doing it for months. We're really good friends." And they give a hug, and then they look in each other's eyes, and then they get interrupted.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so at least there is some movement here. I think we're finally getting to the heart of this Dana-Reggie relationship.
After 6 months, I think we're ready for the next step in this story.
I think so too, yeah. But, I mean, at the moment, it seems like it's Reggie trying to escape the friend zone. So we'll see. I think it's a positive compared to the aimless repetitiveness that we usually see in the 24/7 division. So, much like the Quiz Bowl, I mean, it's something stupid enough that I think it could be appealing to to much of the audience, I should say.
Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory, a rematch from last week. Do you pay attention to these graphics when the people come out and the little attributes that they list?
No.
Some of them were awesome tonight. Kevin Owens, okay, of all of his attributes, okay, well, if you're going to write about all of his accomplishments in WWE, I mean, he was bringing them up later in his promo about winning a Universal title and all this stuff. His attribute was he has the ability to speak French and English fluently.
That is an attribute. Yeah.
That is a trick. Yes. Owens runs his shoulder into the post, and Theory goes to throw him back first onto the steps like last week, but this time Owens stops him and hits a cannonball off of the steps. They come back from break. He hits another cannonball in the ring, a splash off the apron. Theory stops the pop-up and a stunner. Owens fires back. Swanton lands on the knees, and it finishes with a with pin losing last. So we are even.
Yes, we are. Yeah. I suppose this was somewhat of a surprising outcome because, I mean, it's not Kevin Owens.
One guy's in your chain and could desperately use something for Owens last week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was a bit surprising, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe next week Theory gets the win back. Who knows, dude? I mean, all I know is that, I mean, I don't think Owens is likely to enter into the chamber match. So more TV made.
Well, Austin Theory is going to be a giant star after all of this. That'll be the conclusion. RK Bro is in the back, and Orton notes how Riddle could headline WrestleMania if he wins the chamber match. But tonight he has to focus on Seth Rollins. Riddle talks about the chances of being a double champion if they can win the tag titles and he wins the WWE title, and suggests an RK Broga party for next week, which they're actually going to do. So Randy and Riddle will be in togas next week.
And it'd be like WrestleMania 9.
Yes. The Indianapolis, Indiana version, where next week's show takes place from.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got the latest on the long journey of Veer to Raw. And if you listen to any of this, he says that his prey is on the horizon. The best line of the entire 3 hours. I am a patient predator. A very patient man is this Veer. He says he cannot be contained for much longer, and soon he will have his trophies. So he's getting a little antsy way. He has waited since October when this draft took place, and I think he is ready now. He has been patient, and now the patient predator is getting ready.
He's warming up. He's on main event, just tying his shoelaces, just making sure everything works. The lights were purple this week instead of green, so we've we're moving through the color spectrum.
Lita came out and she is noted that this will be her first women's title match since 2006. It's been 15 years since she has challenged for the title. And she listed off some of the women that she was in the Royal Rumble with. And it was interesting to hear some of the reactions. Flair got booed. Ronda, very mixed reaction here in Denver. And then listing others as well. But says she has wanted this match with Becky Lynch for a long time. So long that she was confronting Charlotte for a title program. It seemed like right before the Royal Rumble. Remember that?
Yeah, you're right.
She was covering her bases, I think.
Well, maybe Becky was busy.
Start something on both shows. Something's got to prosper. So Becky comes out and refers to Lita as her teenage idol. And the reason she said no to the title match at first last week was because she loved Lita while she was growing up. And when she got here to WWE, a lot of people just turned their nose to Becky, but Lita did not. She saw something in Becky, and I've always been grateful. And without Lita, there would be no Becky. But now that there is a Becky Lynch, there can be no Lita. And she calls it hurtful that Lita is now trying to take everything that I have built, everything that is anything to me. I have had to get rid of friends for this. I have had to get rid of the people for this. Now, Lita, I have to get rid of you. I'm in the prime of my career, and you might have helped me. You might have helped bring me up, but I will have no problem putting you down. Lita responds that she has always been the underdog, but you, the fans, helped me become 4-time champion. And you, the fans, cheered my name and let me live my dream. And I might not have had a title shot in 15 years, but the people are still with me. And I like my odds. And Becky goes to attack her, gets stopped, or gets the twist of fate is teased, but Becky stops it and starts stomping on Lita. She goes to leave, comes back for a manhandle slam, and it gets blocked. And Lita hits a twist of fate and a moonsault to end the segment. I was surprised that they decided to go ahead with the moonsault. That to me would be a big part of the match. But overall, I thought this came off well. I thought Becky was tremendous with her promo. And with Lita, like, promos are not her forte, but I was glad that they did a smoother twist of fate than that one we had on Charlotte a number of weeks back. And then the moonsault. So the audience was into this.
I thought the moonsault looked great.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think about great looking moonsaults when I think about Lita's. And I mean, you know, maybe she's really practiced, because I thought this one looked tremendous. I thought the segment came across really well. I thought they both felt like stars. I think Lita has shown improvement in her comfortability on the microphone. You know,
Definitely.
it's been a while since we've seen her actually speak as a professional wrestler, cutting professional wrestling promos, trash talking with another person. And she, I thought, you know, injected a good level of, you know, kind of like star power, I will say, into a Becky Lynch program, which we have had not very many of recently. This isn't feeling like it's another sort of run of the mill competitor, like a Dewdrop or Liv Morgan. You know, they are setting Lita up to be a pretty big challenger with a lot of history for Becky Lynch. The story is now Becky Lynch going up against her personal idol, her childhood idol. And I think that's a lot more interesting than any of the other feuds she's been involved with over the past year. I mean, I do have my concerns about the match, but I thought the promo and the story and the marquee value are enough justification for this happening.
Yeah, I think what they have going for them as well is that I think Lita's going to be very popular to this crowd as well when they go over there. So, I mean, hopefully you get a heated match, but you're right. Like, this is kind of, I think, what you shoot for one of these like shows that are sandwiched between the Rumble and WrestleMania, is something that you just hope that you can just hook people with an interesting story to bide over your champion that I think everyone understands what the outcome is going to be, but make it as creative as possible going in. And this is the most you can hope for. It doesn't feel like a lame duck title defense.
Mm-hmm.
Sonya Deville is with Adam Pearce, and she's got her arm in a sling, selling the Ronda armbar trademark. And Kevin Owens walks in, and after beating Austin Theory, he thinks he should be put into the chamber match, which I think he is a logical request for Kevin Owens to make. They just shoot him down and say no. And then he is told, you might not even be at WrestleMania. And he is like, what? Me not be at WrestleMania? It's 2 goddamn nights. He warns them that if you don't put me on the card at WrestleMania, there could be a riot in Texas. I won my Universal title in Texas. I won the IC title in Texas. My first WrestleMania was at AT&T Stadium. The people need this. The people of Texas need me. I love everything about Texas. He points to the tattoo of the bull on his arm, stating, I practically have the state of Texas tattooed on my arm. Think about this. And he leaves. Dude, Kevin Owens was incredible during this. This was a great little segment that was kind of throwaway on the show, but I was entertained.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Well, I mean, to what aim? What do you think they're teasing here?
I don't know. This is where it makes your authority figures look like fools. Like, you would not schedule this guy on WrestleMania. It just makes you look silly. Why would he not be at WrestleMania?
I mean, the implication is that, I mean, there's no room for Kevin Owens.
On both nights? It's like 16 matches we're going to see.
Well, I mean, somebody's not going to be on the show.
Owen should explain, listen, I just re-signed a new deal.
He should. Yeah.
Okay? I'm a lucrative re-signing here, okay? I could have gone. I had options. I could have gone to many other places.
Well, what is the thread here? Like, what are they trying to do? And what is Owens going to do in response?
I guess this is going to go with the idea that he's going to get shut out of WrestleMania. So he's got to try and do something. Like maybe he feels he's got to win a title or something to ensure that he is part of WrestleMania.
Or he needs to have an opponent.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. So he's got to go. Maybe that's the idea. You got to like package yourself with somebody and have a program and then present it to creative.
I mean, wasn't that John Cena's whole thing for that year when he was looking to get a spot on Mania?
That's right. He had to buy a ticket to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your past success does not guarantee you get booked at WrestleMania. Even that year, Cena was there in the crowd and WrestleMania was like 18 hours long.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan against Dewdrop. So Liv Morgan comes out, not fluent in English or French, but this was an interesting statistic. Okay. You said you learned something in that opening quiz bowl. I think you're about to learn something else, Way. Liv Morgan, her attribute, grew up a WWE fan.
Okay. I knew that, I think.
Okay. Well, now the whole world knows it. Morgan did a promo from earlier. She has been driving herself insane after almost winning the women's title. And the loss to Becky almost broke me, but it didn't. And now I have a chance to win the chamber and main event WrestleMania. A lot of main events up for grabs that everyone is reaching for these cards.
Legitimately, there are 2 main events.
Yes, legitimately, but we're probably going to get 4 title matches that are going to be advertised as WrestleMania main events. Well, at least 3. We'll see what happens with the main men's title.
Mm-hmm.
So Dewdrop did her promo stating that she has been too passive and too nice. Now she's not. So she feels disrespected and she is coming to splatter everyone on the roster. Liv climbs onto her back for a choke, is run into the corner. Dewdrop attacks her with a senton, hits her with a bonsai drop, and Dewdrop is the winner.
Yeah, good little match, making Dewdrop look strong heading into the chamber. So maybe next week we'll have Liv Morgan beat her.
More therapist segments here. The therapist goes to Alexa and mentions how last week I asked you to hand over Lily and you did not act aggressively. I know this Raw was long, but it didn't feel like there was a week in between the last segment that we saw earlier tonight and this one.
Was that not supposed to be a clip from last week?
No, they showed last week's clip, and then they showed a new clip, which was the one where she hands over the doll.
Was the handing over of the doll not from last week that they didn't show? Like, are we not supposed to believe that was last week?
No, I think we got 2 separate. They started earlier in the night with showing last week, which was a separate one. And then they did the segment where he asked for the replica, because last week was where he gave her the replica.
Yeah, did he not give it to her and then ask for it back in the same week?
No, he asked for it back earlier tonight.
I'm saying, wasn't the clip earlier tonight a clip from the session last week that they just didn't air last week?
I don't think so, but who cares? Rollins is interviewed. He says that...
So again here, with these Alexa Bliss things, the hair changes again. The white makeup from her face is dissipating. So this transformation is continuing.
Rollins is interviewed and says it is his year to win the title at WrestleMania. And next week on the show, Brock Lesnar is on the show. Damien Priest versus AJ Styles for the U.S. title and the Toga Party with RK Bro. So into Seth Rollins and Riddle we go. Rollins took Riddle off the apron and power bombs him into the barricade. That sets up the commercial break, and then afterwards having a nice match when Riddle hits the floating bro to the floor, and Owens attacks Riddle for the DQ, and Randy immediately runs down. RKO is delivered to Owens. They trade words, and we come back with an impromptu tag match with Orton and Riddle against Rollins and Kevin Owens. They had the heat on Riddle forever during this match.
Why do you think they did this?
Just to break it up, I guess.
Like, why?
I didn't understand why they decided. Yeah. Why
not advertise this to begin with?
Well, on top of it is like you advertise Rollins and Riddle as your match. And to me, it's one thing if Riddle's going to lose, but like you're setting them up for this tag title match. And then we're just going to beat them in this match on top of it, where Randy's attached this on top of it. It just seemed like unnecessary that we had to include Randy in all of this.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, unless it was them wanting to just add a commercial break in here and wanting to extend the thing, so they had to do all this stupid bullshit of changing the match midway through into a tag team match. But I mean, I think RK Bro versus Rollins and Owens is a perfectly attractive main event that they could have advertised on their own. Or Riddle versus Rollins, I think, would have been an attractive main event to see through to the ends. So I don't know what I thought they did it just to get out of Riddle getting pinned, but Riddle ended up getting pinned.
Yeah,
So,
well, they did
who
do
knows?
the stare down with Orton and Rollins afterwards. So
You
they
could have
probably
done that.
You easily could have had Orton just show up at the end and not do this whole tag match where your number one contenders are losing to a team that is, well, I don't think Rollins and Owens are going after Gable and Otis.
I don't think so either. So it's just, I don't have a problem with the match itself. It's just like trying to think of the logic in them pulling this thing into so many different directions to get to the same place.
Well, after Orton got the hot tag, he's hitting his power slams, draping DDT. The RKO gets blocked. Riddle makes the blind tag in, and with Rollins with Orton out of the ring, Rollins stops the ripcord knee, lands a rolling elbow, strikes him in the back of the head, and hits the stomp and pins Riddle in 8 minutes and 8 seconds of the second portion of this main event. And it just goes off with Orton staring down Rollins, who is laughing, and Orton hits an RKO on Kevin Owens. So Owens is the fall guy here. Orton gets something here at the end, and that is it. And Riddle is the doormat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought the action in itself, I think, was very good. You can always count on these four excellent performers to deliver in ring. It's just everything that's around it is kind of confusing. How am I supposed to feel about Kevin Owens right now? Am I supposed to feel bad that he's not able to get on the Elimination Chamber? Yet, am I supposed to hate him because he's going up against my favorites in RK Bro at the end? And how am I supposed to feel about Seth Rollins going from babyface in one setting against Roman Reigns 1 week, and then back to being a heel, full on, complete with obnoxious promo at the beginning of this match against Riddle? So, there are a lot of moving pieces, and I don't know if it's being done for depth as much as it is for what makes sense that particular week.
You know what Kevin Owens needs to do? He's got to stop wrestling today, and then he's going to come back in 23 years, and he's just going to walk out, and he's going to challenge the champion on the spot right after the Royal Rumble, and he'll get his title match.
Well, you think so? I mean, if he can look like Bill Goldberg at that age, then maybe he would.
Well, start now, and you can. That's the route to a championship match. So,
but I don't think he'd be willing to go to Saudi Arabia even then.
Maybe not. No. Yeah, those seem to be the title matches that you can just show up and receive, like Lita and Goldberg. So that is what you have to weigh. But there you go. That was Raw. I'm very curious what this after Elimination Chamber, where we are going to see the directions start for WrestleMania, because I can't see, like, it's not like I see a whole lot of stories here that are taking shape that you can see, like they have this long 2-month vision of where all this stuff is going. It just seems that it is very, like, there's stuff being built. I just can't say I'm all captivated by it.
There's a lot of stuff here. I mean, I think Rollins and Owens could always potentially be a match that they can get to for WrestleMania. It's the whole partners turning on each other type of thing. Mm-hmm. Miz and Rey Mysterio seem to be doing something, but will it make it all the way to WrestleMania? I'm not so sure. What do we have with Damien Priest? What's his thing?
AJ next week,
but nothing long term. It looks like yet.
We didn't have Omos on the show tonight. I mean, Omos eliminated Damien Priest, so I suggested maybe they would end up. It just seems like Omos, after all that, just seems like he has been just kind of put on the back burner for now.
Yeah. Alpha Academy and RK Bro is coming up, but I don't think that's making all the way to WrestleMania. Alexa Bliss is making her return. I'm sure she'll have something, but we don't know against who. And what else we got? Oh, God.
That's the main stuff.
I mean, not a whole lot to get excited about,
And it's like whatever Lashley is doing after Elimination Chamber, whether he has or does not have the title. If he does not have the title, that makes it a bit more, I don't know. It takes something away from the Raw build if they do end up going that direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a show. Bit more content than usual. So if you love hours of professional wrestling content, then you got a bit more of it. You know, as far as like quality, what you needed to come back to watch.
What did you enjoy the most on the show?
Very good question. Very good question. Why don't we more so ask like what was necessary to watch throughout these 3 hours? You know, what was necessary information to gather for your future enjoyment of this product?
Okay, for future enjoyment, probably nothing. For just something that will be of interest. I can't recommend the entire quiz bowl, but it was fun for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can't recommend it.
Some of the
but if you happen to flip through and stuck around, and if you happen to buy a ticket and find yourself in this arena, maybe you would have come out enjoying it.
I mean, Styles and Priest was fine. Owens in theory was fine. Riddle and Rollins was fine.
Like, we're talking about 5-star matches this afternoon. Why am I making my effort to watch a fine 3-4 minute match that I'm gonna forget about the next day?
If you don't have a lot of time, Raw might not fit into your schedule, especially the commercial-free edition with the first hour. It's a lot. Clearly,
it's not fitting into many people in the Post Wrestling Cafe schedule because we again have 0 pieces of feedback for Monday Night Raw. So it's just not on people's priority list at this point in our demographic.
Well, a lot of people watching the Olympics, I'm sure. So there you go. That is Raw. We have one more show until Elimination Chamber. They've got SmackDown this week. 2 tapings happening on Friday night in New Orleans. So you get more content if you're live in New Orleans. 2 episodes of SmackDown to sit through.
So they're taping the go home show to Elimination Chamber as well.
Yes, they'll do the Friday show, and then they're taping the following Friday's show. So we will have everything for them leading up on the SmackDown side into the pay-per-view.
Is Ronda or Brock going to be there?
No Brock. Ronda is advertised for. That's a good question about Brock. I could check here, but Ronda is there on Friday.
Okay. So they'll have Ronda for both of the editions of SmackDown.
I think Ronda's going to be on most of the SmackDowns, if not all of them, going into WrestleMania. So you've got Ronda and Goldberg are listed for Friday. Okay, yeah. Well,
Fox must be happy about that. So, the build to Elimination Chamber continues.
It's exciting stuff. All right, that's going to wrap up the show. But again, we're back on Tuesday live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So tune in for the Post Daily News Show. And then Tuesday night for Post Wrestling Cafe members, it is Rewind Away with a review of WWF's Greatest Hits, a Coliseum home video release from 1991.
It's only 1 hour, everybody.
That's it. Commercial free.
Commercial free, yeah.
All right. Have a great night, and we'll speak with you on Tuesday.